Retro.
Yeah.
Electro. Tech.
Oh yeah.
Hey, turn the lights back on. Wow. Retro electro tech. When real audio ruled the world.
Well, hello there. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Retro Ernest of Retro Electro Tech. And before your eyes today is a Bose Wave Radio, model AWRCC1, that's Alpha Whiskey Romeo Charlie Charlie 1. So this unit was brought in a few months or so ago, and sadly the owner has passed away, but his wife advised me that she would like me to keep on going with it because she enjoys it as well. So of course that's what I'm doing now. And on that note, as you can see, I'm starting to get this thing disassembled. I have the cover off over here, and I have a brush. I'm kind of just going through and cleaning the exterior as I go. You can see like on that lip down there you have a lot of build-up, dirt and debris accumulation, and just going through cleaning the exterior a little bit before I start peeling back the layers. So the problem appears to be, at least thus far, within the control aspect of things when it comes to the function of the CD player. So the lights are on but no one's home. I'm able to load a CD, eject it with a fair degree of repeatability. But because I'm having some trouble with the control aspect of things, sometimes getting the CD to eject is a little fickle. But other than that, the actual mechanics of insertion and ejection are very fluid. No problem with any resistance along a CD's path of travel within the load-unload mechanism. Everything appears to be smooth. No unusual noises, no clunking, no noises indicating that the mechanism is struggling along. Everything appears to be typical. And like I said, I just don't have any control as far as any navigability when it comes to moving through the CD, getting the CD to play. Lights are on, no one's home. So I need to get to the control circuitry and suss things out. Again, with the mechanism, I think the mechanism is just fine. As I start peeling back the layers, getting to my destination, I am going to check the mechanism in more detail. I'm going to use some compressed air, just a little bit. You don't want to get too hot and heavy with the PSI. Just a little compressed air, get out any loose, dirt, debris, dust, whatever is my point. And I'll check lubricant, just kind of fill it with my finger, where I see lubricant, just to gauge the general health of the lubricants in there to see if things are starting to look kind of degraded. The lubricants appear to be kind of getting thick and sticky. In other words, are they contributors to maybe bogging down the mechanism and causing some issues with normal function? I look for stuff like that, and I point that out often in just numerous videos when I'm going into a piece of equipment. So no different here, but I'm not going to do a full tear down and really strip and dip and clean and relubricate and go through and perform adjustments and all that. That's really not in the cards for this level of servicing, but I don't think that we need anything beyond what I'm talking about. Like I said, just blowing out maybe some loose debris, checking on the status of lubricants, making sure that there's nothing obvious that sticks out that's causing a problem. But other than that, the thing that I really want to focus on in regard to the mechanism right off the bat is the sled that the optical pickup, the laser unit, is mounted to, because that sled travels on a couple rails typically, and that needs to move in an uninhibited manner. It can't be bogged down or meet up with any resistance or what have you. But again, I think that all that's going to be okay. I think once I get in there and just do a little light cleaning and blowing out any crap and debris and all that, we'll be okay there. Like I said, when I get to the control circuitry, I think that's where we're gonna find the problem. I know with some of these, and I'm not sure which models, and I'm not sure if this AWRCC1 is one of them, but I know that sometimes in these bad electrolytic caps cause these problems with lack of control when it comes to, you know, controlling the CD function of things. So that may be the case here, it may not. So let me go ahead and get to that. Okay, and just like that, everything is completed with the help of the camera. So, wish everything in life went that smooth and just jumped from one scene to the next, but it doesn't always work that easy. But anyways, yeah, this was pretty straightforward though overall, and I didn't roll any video footage as far as getting into more disassembly and going over, you know, where I am inside and what I'm doing, because it really was fairly straightforward, and I'll talk about that a little bit, and I'll just keep it brief. But as suspected, it was in the control board. There were some bad electrolytics. Okay, a couple of them that I found that were reading funky, and I just went ahead and removed all of them in the vicinity. And you can see, you know, I have, you know, I'm playing a track, and the track is counting up. I have full control of all the functions, modes, all that. Yeah, everything is working like it should. So, anyways, and one of the reasons too why I didn't roll footage, besides it was just pretty straightforward going through the process, is I'm just going to real quick just talk somebody who might be interested in at least getting in it to do that. And there's just 5 screws on the bottom there to, you know, get the cover off over there, and from the bottom, if you just flip it around, which I'm not going to do it for this because you can see what I'm talking about, but over here and over here is where the screws pop through from underneath, and then there's one on this side over here and one on the other side, and then there's one around back, I think like over here. Yeah, I think like right over here. And while you're back here, if you pull this clamp off, that will free up the transformer. There's a couple connectors on the transformer. If you pull those out of the sockets, you'll be able to get that out of the way. Also too, you'll notice the speaker wires extending across the top of the speaker enclosure. They drop down between the heat sink there and the enclosure. I doubt if you'll be able to really see much better, but there's a couple connectors between the enclosure and the heat sink that plug into the board there, and that's all you do, unplug them, and you free up the speaker enclosure. And all you have to do after that, just make sure, you know, a couple screws here, swing the display out of the way, and this enclosure will lift off no problem, just straight up. Below it is the metal square CD unit that could be lifted off of its mounts. There's a couple of ribbon cables attached to that. If you want to opt to remove those ribbon cables, unplug them, you can do that, or you could just swing the unit rearward or whatever out of the way, and you'll have access to the areas you need access to as far as the control board and, you know, tuner board, which are in this, you know, under the same housing. There's a metal box there with a, you know, metal cover for shielding. Pop that off. There's electrolytics and so forth, and you can just get in there and do whatever sussing out you need to, and that's it. And that's what I did. I just went in there and I found some electrolytics that were not reading real well, and when I pulled them and tested them a little further, yeah, they were kaput. But anyways, other than that, yeah, all the new electrolytics are on board, no problem, and everything's back together. Oh, the mechanism looked good. The lubricant that I could visualize and access within all looked good. I used a little bit of compressed air, just a little bit, and blew out some dust and debris, which there was some in there. I got it pretty darn clean considering I didn't go into a you know, deep dive disassembly on it. That wasn't in the cards, like I said, wasn't in the budget on this one. So other than blowing out some dust and little debris and all that stuff, everything cleaned up nice. All the boards I cleaned up in there pretty good. Got all the dust out and all the garb, so everything's looking pretty good. All I have to do now is just a sound test. I'm not going to go through all the functions in this video, no point. I mean, I could sit there and demonstrate all the functions, but I'll do that when the customer gets here and show her what's going on with all the functions, that they're all working. But we'll just do an audio test or sound test here. That's about it. We'll go from there. Okay, so let's do a quick sound test. no CD is loaded right now, as you can see on the display, no disc. So let me go ahead and demonstrate the loading and the eject. Okay. Again, nice and smooth. That's what I was talking about in the beginning, that when I was first function testing and evaluating this unit.
This is the innermost edge of the playable tracking area.
Yeah, let me just pause that. Yeah, when I was initially testing it, I saw that the CD was loading and unloading when I could get it to eject, because again, remember, the controls were kind of scrambled up, and it was hard to get it to eject sometimes for that reason, like I already mentioned, but it wasn't anything mechanical. But yeah, it ejects just fine. Let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so let me go ahead and do a quick sound test. Okay, so I have a CD loaded up, a track selected that's going to perform a sweep test on excuse me, right channel, then left channel, or left channel, then right channel, whatever, it doesn't matter, and then both channels. So I'm going to get started with that, and I will go through and just do a brief demo that the various functions are working. I'm not going to demonstrate all of them, but I'll show that there's control over the unit again. So let's go ahead and start with the sweep test, some audio so we can see that it's putting out sound and doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Crossover sweep test to 15,000 Hertz, left channel. Crossover sweep test to 15,000 Hertz, right channel. Crossover phase tracking test to 15 kilohertz, in phase.
Okay, so there you go. You get the point. It's making sound, and everything is actually doing pretty well. Sounds good, and like I already said, the CD mechanism is working perfect at this point. So yeah, and let me just go ahead real quick. I'll eject this. Okay, and we'll just go through a few of the functions. Let me just hit the mute button. Mute is flashing there, so the control is working. Here's the AM FM selector there. It's on FM right now, I think. Yeah. And back to our CD function, and then our auxiliary. Okay, I checked the auxiliary input. It's doing fine. So yeah, and I've played around with the remote, went through the functions. I'm going to do more of that when the customer comes and show her what's going on. But the function has been restored is the point. So I'm going to end it here, guys, and as I always say, peace, love, music, and the vintage audio that brings it to your ears. Until next time, y'all take care.
This is a poor man's shoe production.